Some Derry good news, some Derry good news. We all could use some Derry good news.
Time for some Derry good news, the show you didn't ask for but is back anyway. The response to the first episode was unanimous and overwhelming. You liked the jingle the best.
Some Derry good news, some Derry good news. We all could use some Derry good news.
That catchy jingle that gets stuck in your head can only mean one thing. It's time for another edition of Some Derry Good News. I'm glad you're back, and you aren't the only one who's back. There's some obvious good news to share this week.
Christ has risen! He is risen indeed!
Christ is risen! He is risen indeed!
Christ has risen!
He has risen indeed!
Christ has risen!
He has risen indeed!
Christ is risen. He's back. Now, the big question remaining, though, is whether Jesus saw his shadow when he came out of his tomb. If he did, I think that means there's 6 more weeks of quarantine. It was great to see all your faces, though, on Easter Sunday. There you were, many of you in your regular pews. The 8 o'clockers had to just squeeze in when there was room. Sorry, chapel folk. It was touching to have you all there in the sanctuary with us, though. I will say you were a bit quiet. There were no shouts of hallelujah or amen during the service, no laughing at my joke, so basically all in all, a typical Presbyterian worship service. Enough with the bad attempts at comedy, let's hear some more of that Derry good news. Let's start at Derry with our Mission and Peace Committee, who recently met through Zoom to discuss some spending and support for some of our mission partners. Now, our mission partners need us now more than ever because the people our partners support need them. Now, yes, giving to the church may be down during the COVID pandemic, but that doesn't mean we're going to stop our mission giving. It's who we are. First, we are sending a special gift of $10,000 to the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank. They are the ones who supply all other food banks and many of the feeding programs we support, like Downtown Daily Bread. They are currently providing crisis food at no cost to partners who serve over 1,000 people. Then we're also continuing our normal mission giving to some of our regular partners, like the Penn National Racetrack Ministry, Joshua Group, Christian Churches United, the Community Checkup Center, and Church World Services Refugee Aid, all totaling $7,500. In addition, we're sending $5,000 to our partners, the Friends of PEB, to help with feeding programs at the schools we support in Pakistan. Their biggest need right now is not scholarships, but funds to help feed the children. These funds will help feed, house, and care for our neighbors here locally and abroad. A pandemic doesn't stop us from practicing God's justice and loving our neighbors, and that's always some Derry good news. We have even more Derry good news this week that Sarah Woodbury, chair of the AP&C, shared with us on Easter Sunday.
Easter greetings on behalf of the Associate Pastor Nominating Committee. I'm so pleased to bring you good news today. We would first like to express our gratitude to the session for providing us with clear direction and support during our search. In May of 2019, once our search focused on the current position, Associate Pastor for Youth and Families, the committee found a higher caliber of candidates whose calling was very specifically focused on faith formation. In December, a candidate with impressive credentials and experience reached out to us. Her dual degree from Princeton Theological Seminary, a Master of Divinity with a Master of Arts in Youth Ministry, was a signal to us that her calling and commitment to youth ministry was solid. Each year of her ministry, she has focused continuing education time on youth and young children, including themes around innovation and inclusion. Most recently, she achieved a certificate in youth theology and innovation. We were also excited to learn that she has a bachelor's degree in music education and is a trumpet player too. There were several things about Derry Church that interested this candidate. Our multi-generational, inclusive, and musical congregation were some highlights for her. She was specifically interested in our brass ensemble and our puppet ministry. We learned that she has clowning ministry experience and a long history of church camp ministry involvement. In the time we spent in person together, our committee was so excited by her engaging, enthusiastic, and warm demeanor. We have taken a season to get to know each other, and we're pleased to announce that she's accepted our unanimous decision to extend the call to be our associate pastor for youth and families. The Presbytery of Carlisle's Commission on Ministry approved this call on April 2nd. In non-pandemic times, we would be planning a candidating weekend, culminating with a congregational meeting and a vote. Since these times are more complicated, we will need to find creative ways to introduce her to you and all of you to her. More information about our candidate, including her name, will come to you soon. For now, please join me in praising and thanking God for guiding our steps to this joyous milestone. Happy Easter.
Hooray! We get to welcome a new associate pastor for youth and family ministries here at Derry. We have searched and we have found. We will get to share more specific information about the candidate soon and introduce her through videos, brochures, Zoom, and maybe even another Derry Good News session. Woohoo! We hope we can call a congregational meeting to officially vote to call her to Derry soon. But it is always a joy to welcome new staff members at Derry and who will help us proclaim God's word, share God's love, and practice God's justice. It's some Derry good news. Now on to stories of what you're doing, because you're doing a lot. And I don't mean a lot of watching Tiger King in your pajamas. Maybe, I don't know, Carol Baskins totally did it. Or did she? Did what? I'm not sure. I haven't seen it yet, but apparently many of you have. But I'm not here to tell the story of Joe Exotic. I want to tell you about Sandy Manigano. Sandy is an interior designer and owner of Windows Fashion and More in Palmyra. She's a member of Derry and often live streams. She was approached by Dave Weaver of Mr. Bobbin's Embroidery in Annville to partner with him in a project to provide face masks for doctors and health staff and to keep workers on their payroll. Now, Sandy's company is able to sew the fabric together, and Mr. Bobbin, I love that name, Mr. Bobbin adds the nose guard. They started production on March 30th. They currently have orders for 60,000 more, and they are selling their face masks at cost. Between the two companies, they have 15 people who are able to work. Their masks are currently being used at Johns Hopkins Hospital. Sandy says, "We want to keep up with demand, but are no longer able to meet the needs of everyone asking for these masks. We're now looking to hire people who have experience operating sewing machines and may be temporarily laid off. We will hire you even on a temporary basis. We have work available for the month of April and possibly longer." That is some great news. Keep up the good work, Sandy, and thanks for that Derry good news. Derry's good news reaches far and wide as evidenced by Derry member Patrick Devlin, who joins me on the show. Welcome to Patrick Devlin. He is a Derry Church member, also the CEO of the Tattered Flag Bar and Brewery in Middletown, and now there's also a place in Hershey as well. Patrick, thanks for coming on and talking with us.
Absolutely. Honored to be here.
So you've been kind of switching your operations from kind of more of the bar and brewery and making a lot of really good beer and spirits to making hand sanitizer. Tell me how that happened.
Absolutely. So we saw the need and we saw a couple of places around the country doing it. So we thought we'd try it out, and we were able to do it. And then we found that the need was pretty great in the community.
So how have you gotten all the supplies to do this, and who have you given the hand sanitizer to?
So we've been pretty lucky. We've gotten some donations from members, people all over the place, members of the community from all over, and donations of aloe vera, which helps us as a coagulant, and hydrogen peroxide, which helps us to make it, and bottles from everywhere, local companies, individuals, so that it's been really helpful. Along with we make the product, we're able to make ethanol, which is what's going into this hand sanitizer, and we've been able to, with all the help and donations, and through what we can do with staying open and making sales, is we've been able to donate, I think pretty much every first responder group, fire, EMS, police, within probably at least a 20 to 30 mile radius.
Do you have any idea about how many bottles you've made?
I know it in gallon form. I think we're somewhere around 700 to 800 gallons now that we've been able to donate.
That is a lot of hand sanitizer.
It is. It's keeping us pretty busy, but the goal is just to keep those safe that are still out doing work and can't stay at home and wash their hands. They're in cars, and they're trying to help out in the community, so they can't stop what they're doing.
So you've donated a lot. Have you also sold any of the hand sanitizer?
Yes, yeah, we've sold a decent amount too. We've sold a lot too. The need is great everywhere. One of our priorities is obviously getting it to our military, our National Guard that are out, and also even as close as Hershey Med Center. So trying to get that to our hospitals, to the frontline workers.
So what are some ways the community can continue to support you as you support all these others?
Absolutely. I mean, we always take donations, but getting the word out and seeing who is in need and pushing to us. Our list is pretty great and pretty extensive. But we can always take donations. It's helpful for us. Clean new bottles are always helpful. 4 ounce sizes, pumps, those kind of things are always helpful. Aloe vera gel helps us create a coagulant for this product.
And are you still selling food and things that people can go to your restaurant and get that?
We are, yes. We're still doing takeout and some delivery as well within a radius. We only have Middletown open at this time period, just to kind of conserve our resources and to do operations out of one area. But yes, we're still open for food and beer and spirits as well.
So Patrick is another example of a Derry member providing some Derry good news to people with his help to first responders, EMT, police, National Guard, hospitals. We appreciate all you're doing to keep the community safe and healthy. Thank you very much for all your work and all your co-workers' work to be able to be flexible and make this change to support the community.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it, and always we appreciate the guidance and support from the church. And it really helps us sitting down with our family on Sundays, and and getting to be still part of the community. So thank God for technology. And
absolutely. Thank you, Patrick, and all the employees of Tattered Flag. You are Derry good news indeed. Good things are happening at Derry. Don't forget it. We may be apart, but together we continue to be good news, and we continue to share good news, and also a bit of lighthearted laughter and fun. So I leave you with a special video Nicola Burke made for her friend Karen Potter, who is in a house with a child practicing the recorder over and over and over. It's a small world indeed, and even a smaller house when a child is playing the recorder. Maybe Nicola can do a version of the Some Derry Good News jingle for us. That would be special. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and stay hopeful, and be some Derry good news for someone.
Some Derry good news, some Derry good news. We all could use some Derry good news.